Hey everybody, I'm Anthony,
I'm John.
and this is the Dynamic Review. Every Friday, we give you a review of our top 3 picks from the comics that came out this week, and without further ado, let's get started.
Alright, I'll go first here. I'd like to start off with Avengers number 5. Now, Avengers is a comic that I don't really look forward to every time it comes out, but somehow I always find myself reading it.
Yeah.
And ever since, every issue so far has been a pretty good comic. And this one, it was pretty good. You meet the new Smasher, which it was actually a pretty good story. I guess her grandpa was the original Smasher. I don't know much about
I don't
Smasher.
know who
Yeah,
Smasher is.
yeah.
That sounds a
So,
little more blind.
last issue we met Hyperon, and then this one we're meeting Smasher. So I feel like we're gonna be there's a story going along, but still you're meeting these new characters, and I feel like these are the characters that are going to die in Age of Ultron.
Oh yeah,
They're just introducing these characters to kill them.
that's
But
what B characters are for.
yeah, it's a good story. It's a good read. So
To be
yeah,
killed.
yeah. So next one was Green Arrow. Now, if you guys watch the Dynamic Buzz show, I praised this thing. I've been so excited for this for weeks, and really I wasn't disappointed at all. This is exactly what I wanted out of this. I wanted Green Arrow to just be back and be a great character in the DC universe. And really, Jeff Lemire really gave this to me, and I loved it. The story, it seems like they're just pretty much revamping it and everything. He's not a new person, but it's like he loses everything. He has to. I guess he's going to be finding his way back to becoming a better Green Arrow or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are worried about maybe I didn't want to jump on 17, this is a good comic to come on to and start reading Green Arrow.
And like I've said before, after I read it I feel like it had good things and bad things going for it. Both things came from the new show, the CW's new show, Arrow, and because the comic kind of refers to the island, and I feel like we're going to start getting a little bit more backstory to what happened in the comic book's island story, which will conflict with people who are watching the TV show. But it's also, that's the reason that a lot of people are jumping back onto the Arrow title. So I feel like it goes both ways. But I guess we'll find out in the next couple of months how it will transition over. If people will like the story, the comic book title, or if they prefer the show storyline.
Yeah. I think I'll enjoy both, but I guess we'll see in the upcoming months.
Yeah.
One problem I have with this is the art. It's decent. It's not bad, but the one thing that I don't like about it is it's so similar to kind of Hawkeye style. And the thing about that is like, Hawkeye and Green Arrow are pretty much exact the same characters. And I'm thinking the whole time, I'm like, even like small little things where it like zooms into an arrow coming in, like showing an arrow.
Yeah.
Like I remember the last like 2 issues ago of Hawkeye, it showed like his different arrows. It just reminded me of Hawkeye so much with the art. And I don't want it to be the same. I don't know.
Yeah, they need to stay separate. So far, like I said, I like the story. Wasn't key on the last person they introduced, the new character, whatever. But yeah, the art felt just like, that's what made Hawkeye cool. Is I've never seen art like that before, and then now I feel like they're bringing it off in this. Yeah. But aside from the art, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's a very good story. If you haven't picked it up and read it yet, please go to your local comic shop. Spend $2.99 on it, and it's going to be a good story. So, yeah. My last one I'm going to save for your last one, because we actually got the same last one this time.
Very rare moment. All right. Well, my number 3 pick this week was Iron Man number 6. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't usually go out and say, oh, I'm going to get all these Marvel titles. I usually buy like 1 or 2, but I decided to jump on because I noticed that the Godkiller armor that Tony Stark's wearing now is also the armor that we see it was a teaser for the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm really excited for that title to come out. So I thought I'd pick it up because it might lead into it. And it kind of does. Tony Stark is now in space. He's ventured off into space with this new Iron Man suit called the Godkiller. And I think right now it's a saga. So it's a 3-part series right now that will tie this whole thing together. So currently, it's just Iron Man, and it was really funny. He kind of put a little Star Trek humor where he is flirting with this alien princess. person thing, and he's flirting with her and, throwing out charm, and she's throwing it back, and he kind of talks about his dad for a little bit, and, when they go to do the deed, he pulls off his mask to kiss her, and she freaks out because she sees his mustache, and I guess in her culture, the mustache is like, look at that feces growing out his face kind of junk.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really funny. I thought it was cool. I had to step away from the fact that somehow in space everything speaks English. I let that go, and I'm not exactly cool on the fact that the new AI is like a pepper. He installed a new pepper AI, so it's just like Pepper Potts.
And this story, it's if you guys liked AVX, this is like the aftermath of it, and something big happens that ties into AVX. That's going to make this little series pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably read the next one, but for me, it was just a decent story to read.
Yeah, it was decent, but I liked it. I wanted to step away, and I wanted to enjoy the laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was a good story.
Yeah. But my next pick this week, my number 2, was the new Ultimate Spider-Man at number 20. Now, if you guys have been paying attention to the previous issues, it ended with 16.1.
16, yeah.
16.1, at the very end, it reveals Venom attacks a reporter who's going to report on that Miles Morales was the new Spider-Man. But okay, we'll skip that. Anyway, basically, Venom shows up in the title now, which is what everyone who's been reading this title has been waiting for, thinking, okay, well, a new Spider-Man has to face Venom. Because, next to the Green Goblin, the Venom is Spider-Man's next arch-villain. And it didn't disappoint. I was excited. It kind of showed a little bit. Usually you see Miles, and he's learning. He's not really fighting. I'm not really sure how to say it. It's all this novice stuff, but it felt like an actual Spider-Man comic again, where, there was a beginning, there was a middle, and there was an end. And the comic ended, and there was no giant cliffhanger. It's going to continue on with this new title, The Venom Wars, but it wasn't like how every other Spider-Man issue's been, when you read, and then there's this cliffhanger that you're starving until next week. It kind of gave you some closure for this one issue, and I thought it was really cool. But like I said, you get to see Miles fight, and we're trying to figure out, why is Venom after this new Spider-Man? Like, what does he have against him besides the fact that he's a Spider-Man?
Yeah, for me, the whole time I've been waiting for, the original Spider-Man's villains to come into the story, to have Miles face against them. And, the first couple issues, it was really Miles' own kind of villain because it was his uncle.
Yeah,
but this one, I'm glad Venom's coming in, and I hope after Venom, other characters come into the story too to see how Miles is going to handle them differently than what Peter Parker did. So it's a good story. I can't wait to see what else Venom's got in store for this. But yeah, it was good.
If you haven't picked up any of the new Ultimate Spider-Mans, I would definitely do it because it's just a really good read, and I have more to explain. But on that point, I think we should jump onto our common number 1 issue this week.
Yeah, and
do you want to say the first part? Or the second part?
What?
You want to say the first part?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. This week, our number 1 pick was the Superior
Spider-Man number 3, and this
was awesome.
It's fantastic.
God,
anybody that had doubt in the Superior Spider-Man should read this comic, and it will blow your mind. This is a turning point for the series. This is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I had faith in this comic. Ever since the beginning, you guys have seen me talk about it, but you haven't. So,
I hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like it.
And this one is just extraordinary. Oh my god! I literally, at a certain point, I read this and my jaw dropped, and it didn't stop until at the end of the comic, and I was still like, wow, this phenomenal.
Yeah, and it was like I don't want to give anything away in this comic because I feel like it would be a crime to take this away from readers and stuff, but just pick it up because the Vulture is the enemy of this one, and as most of us know, that Doc Ock and Vulture were friends as villains, and so this issue kind of gives us a chance to see how it looks, how Doc Ock's view looking in on the villain world, and how they revolve and operate, and what his new views of it are with Peter Parker's memories. And I just thought it was great story, great art. It even had a little funny beginning with his little Batman insult.
Oh yeah, I love Batman, but I love how they just insulted Batman. It was hilarious.
Yeah, but And it's nice to see where Peter Parker would insult J. Jameson, and now this Spider-Man does the same thing, but does it in such a smart way that
Well, if you guys watched last episode, I talked about how I thought it was kind of annoying that Peter Parker was talking to Doc Ock this whole time, and this comic it just fit well, and I think this is going to be a really, really good title, and I hope there's a lot of people out there that threaten to kill Dan Slott that is going to be like, wow.
I miss Peter Parker too, but like at some point you have to understand it's a story. Like, and it's Marvel. In another 6 months, Peter Parker will be back. Let's just enjoy this story, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's a great story. Just please, if you haven't already, read all the Superior Spider-Mans. It's just phenomenal. I'll say it again. It's just a great, great story, and we were just, when we both read it, we were just like, wow, this is going to be great. And I hope issue 4 picks up after where this one left off. So.
Next to Brian Michael Bendis, I'm really enjoying Dan Slott.
Yeah. Oh, Dan Slott's okay for me.
I'm not saying he's great. I'm just saying this week at least, I feel like Marvel writers have really pulled it together.
It was
for taking out DC in their weak moment.
Well, because this is a weak week for DC. Probably the most popular title that came out was Green Arrow, which their title that came out was Green Arrow, which next week is a huge week for DC Comics, and this will be a big week for our show. So make sure to tune in next week. But now let's get to the ratings. So I guess I'll go first. Avengers number 5. Just an okay story for me. Nothing big. Didn't read a lot of comics this week, so I'm just going to give it a 3.5.
3.5.
And then Green Arrow 17. Really good story for me. I think one thing that sets it apart is just like the similarities to the art of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And it'll be fine, but I'm still just going to give it a 4.5.
4.5?
And then Superior Spider-Man, it's pretty obvious what it is, and I'm just going to give it a 5.5. Because it's my first 5.5. I mean, not 5.5. Yeah, it exceeds the limit. No.
I give it 12.
It's first 5 out of 5 on the show. So it totally deserves it. And yeah, it was great. So.
All right. Well, for me, like I said, I rated Iron Man number 6, and I'm going to give it... I'm going to give it a 3.5, just because I liked the comedy, the humor, the art, the story, but at the same time, it left a lot to be desired. I feel like 7 will have a higher rating when it comes out, if it makes my list. But yeah, 3.5 is what I give it. For Ultimate Spider-Man number 20, I'm going to rate it a 4.5, because I loved it. I'm really excited for where it's going, and the art and the action that was in it. I thought it was great. Mm-hmm. And so finally, our combination number 1. What would you give Spider-Man? Superior Spider-Man number 3.
I just said 5 out of 5. You didn't hear me?
Honestly, I'm not lying. I'm also trying to think of what I was going to say. That completely tuned you out. I was
going to give it a 2.
I was repeating your grade, and you said something. Yeah.
So but now, give it out 2 out of 5.
Huh? I give it a 1 out of 5. It was terrible. No, Superior Spider-Man, I give it a 5 out of 5.
You're just copying off me now.
We're going to cut this part out because...
That's great. Okay, yeah. So, I guess that wraps everything up, That was another episode of the Dynamic Review. Like we always say, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, visit our website at thedynamicbuzz.com. We got a lot of just cool stuff on there. Previews, blogs, news.
Links to our Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, so make sure you check us out. And also, subscribe to us on YouTube right here. Because we're going to be here, Mm-hmm. So far, we got 2 shows a week. So next week, we're going to have a show every day. No, we're not. But close. If that gets you subscribe.
But no, comment, please. We'd like to hear from you guys.
What was your favorite comics of the week? Huh? Yeah, that's all. All right, yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up. It's been a pretty good day. Been a pretty good week in comics.
Yeah.
So we'll see you Tuesday.
Kicking butt, Buzz. Taking names, kissing babies.
I'm done saying that.
I liked it. I'm gonna keep saying it. He's a hater right now.
Bye.
Peace out.